Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Spookypops here, updating my old weaponsmithing leveling guide for the Brimstone Sands New World expansion. Weaponsmithing allows you to forge different weapons like the great axe, greatsword, longsword, rapier, shields, and warhammer. You can also create honing stones which provide a small boost to damage. A lot has changed since New World launched, so if you are leveling weaponsmithing on the Fresh Start servers, this is the guide for you. Before we get into the leveling process, there are a few important tips you need to know to guarantee the most efficient leveling process. I don't want to repeat these tips throughout the video, so here they are up front. Let's start with the biggest change coming to Brimstone Sands. Amazon has implemented a first-time craft bonus where you receive double the experience for crafting an item. When making an iron longsword for the first time, you receive 240 experience rather than 120. This change is huge and applies to each leveling tier. From levels 0 to 200, the first craft of each item grants you this double experience bonus, so take advantage of it. As you transition to the next leveling tier, ensure to craft one of each item and thank Amazon for the free experience. While leveling weaponsmithing, town board quests are your best friend as they grant massive amounts of weaponsmithing experience for a relatively low amount of resources. The system unfortunately is limited as there is a 30-minute timer for the town board quest to reset. They are also random, so on one reset of quest you may see no weaponsmithing missions, while on another reset you might get 2. Supplement these town board quests with the normal leveling process to save time, resources, and gold. Finally, the perfect salvage system is another way to gain free weaponsmithing experience. As you salvage items, you may receive scraps from items you perfectly salvage. This system is completely random, but when you do perform a perfect salvage, the item returns scraps that can be used to grant additional weaponsmithing experience. Using them while leveling weaponsmithing saves you time and resources. Those are all the tips you should follow when you are leveling weaponsmithing. Now let's get into the leveling process. In the Brimstone Sands expansion, the greatsword provides the most weaponsmithing experience per ingot, but it requires you to gather and produce more wood. I highly recommend sticking with the greatsword because there are a limited number of metal nodes, and they will always be contested, whereas there is an abundance of trees to chop in New World. Although you are required to spend more time gathering wood for the greatsword, I guarantee you will level weaponsmithing faster than those who craft another item. From levels 0 to 50, we will craft around 50 iron great swords. This requires 550 iron ingots, 350 timber, and 100 coarse leather. If you perform all the tips I've already mentioned in this video, this number should actually be a lot less. I recommend crafting 25 iron greatswords and then proceed to craft greatswords as needed. Once you are level 50, transition to the next tier level because Amazon has reduced the amount of experience you receive from crafting iron weapons. This same experience reduction applies when you reach levels 100 and 150. From levels 50 to 100, we will craft 148 steel great swords. This requires 1800 steel ingots, 2000 charcoal, 1000 flux, 1000 timber, and 296 coarse leather. This number of great swords can be reduced by performing the tips in the first part of the video, but expect leveling to 100 to take more time than levels 0 to 50. I recommend crafting 50 great swords at a time to maximize efficiency. Here is where the weaponsmith leveling process begins to slow down. If you have not been following the tips I explained in the first part of this video, I seriously recommend you do so now to save countless hours, resources, and gold. There is a large amount of raw materials we will need to gather for this leveling tier, and if you are not following those tips, you are basically wasting hours of your life. From level 100 to 150, we will craft 212 star metal great swords. This requires 2800 star metal ingots, 2100 flux, 4200 charcoal, 1500 timber, and 424 coarse leather. As you mine star metal ore, be on the lookout for azurite chunks, which can be substituted for star metal ingots. Once you are level 150, pat yourselves on the back for a job well done, but our work is not yet finished. If you level to 200 weaponsmithing back at launch, you know how long this process used to be. However, Amazon has made many positive crafting changes to speed up the leveling process. Although these final 50 levels will take time, we should be happy that times have changed. From levels 150 to 200, we will craft 324 orichalcum greatswords. This requires 4,500 orichalcum ingots, 4,200 flux, 8,400 charcoal, 2,300 timber, and 648 coarse leather. It is possible to replace orichalcum ingots with tolvium or cinnabar, but I would not recommend it if you are starting on a fresh server. We will want to save those materials for doing our daily Asmodeum crafts, so stick to orichalcum ingots. Once you are level 200, throw yourself a party because you have finished the journey. Let's talk a little bit about the best way to gather the raw materials needed to level weaponsmithing. Whenever gathering raw materials, I always use this New World interactive map that shows you the location of every possible resource. For example, when collecting iron ore, I plan my farming routes based on the location of the densest areas of iron ore nodes. Using this map and planning your route is ideal when doing any serious farming. I will include the link to this map below. Finally, your weaponsmithing journey wouldn't be complete without the whole weaponsmithing armor outfit. In Brimstone Sands, you can obtain this set in different ways, but the fastest way is to farm the mobs who drop the gear. You obtain the Weaponsmith hat while farming High Priest Osagera in the Great Cleave. You obtain the Weaponsmith shirt by farming Artifacts Fatum in Shattered Mountain. You obtain the Weaponsmith gloves by farming Juna in Eden Grove. You obtain the pants by farming Articulon the Unshackled in the Great Cleave in either of these locations. You obtain the boots by farming Sessa in Ebonscale Reach. To complete the set, you will need to either craft or obtain an earring with a perk granting Weaponsmith Mastery to increase your Weaponsmith craft by 5. Don't forget the food buff by eating Savory Vegetable Melody and your Weaponsmith trophies, and then you are good to craft those in-game weapons at 595 to 600. That's it for this comprehensive Weaponsmith guide for the Brimstone Sands expansion of New World. Hope you enjoyed your leveling process. I'll see y'all next time. Spookypops out.